Hey there, Saber fans, Shamim here. Today we are doing a little review and comparison of three different versions of the Anakin Episode 3 lightsaber from Revenge of the Sith. This middle one is the Master Replicas Limited Edition. It's a solid prop, it's static, it cannot accept electronics. It is the officially licensed version of Anakin's lightsaber from Episode 3. And then on the left or the right, I'm not sure, depending on how the screen is going to mirror when it uploads. This one here is the new version by Corbanth, distributed by Corbanth and machined and manufactured by 89 Sabers. And then over on this side, we've got the Slim Flex made by Ultimate Works, or the Pack Store. So this is the Slim Flex, then we've got the Skinny Flex by 89. So for ease of reference, I'm going to call it the 89 and the Ultimate Works. And then this is the Master Replicas in the middle. All right, so that's what we're going to do. As you may have seen from my most recent video, the one in the middle has been signed by Hayden Christensen. So I will not be handling that one very much. Hopefully won't be handling them at much at all. We'll just sort of take a look at all three of them. You can see by where they are standing, and you can see the whole hilt in camera. So this is not like a forced perspective trick to say like, oh, one is bigger or thicker than the other. Both of them are here. Both of them are here. So let's just look at some of the overall, or some of the big differences that we can see, from afar. The biggest one, let's just start from the bottom and work our way up. First off, to say that the 89 and the Ultimate Works are both very, very nice replicas. Neither one of them are bad sabers. And both of them have their pros and their cons, which we'll get into. I'll also link below to my full written description if you'd prefer to read rather than watch my thoughts on these two sabers as compared to the Master Replicas ones. Before we go any further, I want to mention two other replicas of the Anakin Skywalker hilt that you may or may not be aware of. Previously, there was a company called Wonderful Sabers that created the Low Ground, which I have to give them props for that name. And I had previously reviewed the Low Ground by Wonderful Sabers. That was the Gen 1 that I reviewed on my YouTube channel. You can go and check out that video. I'll try and post the link in the description below. But that was the Gen 1. They have since updated to the Gen 2, which, as I understand, has a few additional accuracy mods. I don't have the Gen 1 here, because I had installed it for purposes of review and then had sold it because bills. So that one is, had some differences from the Master Replicas prop, but it was still a very nice saber. So if you're interested in one of those, Wonderful Sabers has a Gen 2 available. And then coming out, hopefully in the next couple weeks, is the 7 Chambers version of... is the 7 Chambers version. And as I understand it, they opted not to make it super accurate to the Master Replicas prop, and instead make it more accurate to the actual screen used prop. So I'm curious to get a hold of that one. I have that one on pre-order as well, and compare it to the Master Replicas one just to see what's similar and what's different compared to the reference that they used versus using the Master Replicas as reference, which is what I think 89 especially seem to use, because the 89 is very, very close to the Master Replicas one. So if you're looking for something that's accurate to the Master Replicas, 89 may be a good choice. Ultimate Works has a lot... anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the bottom. First thing I notice is that the pommel section below the grips on the Ultimate Works is thicker. It's about twice as thick as what you see here and here, the pommel for 89 and for Master Replicas. And if you look up here, the grips are the same length. It's just because of how thick the pommel itself was made, the grips have to sit higher because the grips have adhesive on the bottom of them. And if they went past the pommel, where the thread mark is right around here, if they went further down, in order for this spacing to be a little shorter and this spacing to be a little shorter, as is accurate to the Master Replicas prop, then the adhesive on the grips would interfere with the pommel. When you tried to twist off the pommel, it would interfere with the adhesive on the grips. So if they had made the pommel a little bit thinner, then the grips could have sat lower, and then the spacing issue wouldn't have been an issue. One thing I will give the Ultimate Works over the 89, though, is the screw that they included for the cover tech, and the cover tech, all of it, it all fit perfectly together once I had put on the grips and then put on the cover tech. The screw was long enough to thread into the hilt, and the CoverTech didn't like press deeply into the grips and sort of widen them out a little bit. That does happen a little bit on the 89. The screw that was included was not long enough to go into the thread, so you will have to source a longer screw if you want to put on the CoverTech, and why wouldn't you? You want it to be accurate. And also, there's no like spacer or nut in between the bottom of the CoverTech and the body of the hilt, and so as you tighten the CoverTech and the screw into the hilt, the CoverTech will sort of squish against the very rubbery grips and sort of, I wonder if you can see it happening. Just a little bit of a curve. You can see that these two grips are curving just a little bit around the CoverTech compared to like here where it's perfectly straight. You can see that there is a wee bit of a curve. And this is not even with the screw tightened like all the way. This is like maybe halfway tightened. So if you tightened it even further, the roundness would be even more pronounced. So that's a wee bit of a flaw on the 89 side. Not entirely sure how you rectify it. Some kind of actual spacer, or you know, to go in between the body and the bottom of the CoverTech would be good. All right, so that's the bottom. Let's talk about the grips. In terms of finish, I think the Ultimate Works grips look. Let's see. Maybe we can move them closer for the purposes of this section of the review. Let's see if that works. Okay. Yeah, finish-wise, you can tell here on the Ultimate Works version. Let's see, so we can still have the bottoms. There we go. All right. The Ultimate Works finish on the grips is very, very similar, and feeling-wise, too, very, very similar to the one in the middle, the Master Replicas. The one from 89, if you're familiar with his Graflex grips on the Graflex flash gun that he made, it's a very similar kind of grip. It's very rubbery. It's a bit more glossy. So it does bend quite a bit more than the Ultimate Works or the Master Replicas one, and it does seem to have a little bit of a different finish. However, the edges up here are, especially on the flat side where it goes up against the body, not the part that juts out, but the flat side that actually hits up against the body. Those edges are a bit more round to better match the grips on the Master Replicas compared to the Ultimate Works, which you can see are a bit more angular and flat, especially like right here. This corner that goes along here like that corner is very sharp. Not like sharp, it hurts your finger, but it is not as round as the Master Replicas and 89. So I think if you mix the finish of the Ultimate Works grips with the roundness of the 89 grips, then you'd get the ideal set of grips for your Anakin hilt. Moving along to the control box, one thing that I'm only just now noticing that was not part of my written remarks that I posted last night, but I'm noticing that this control box is thicker. It juts out more than you see the 89 or the Master Replicas. And looking at it from my perspective, my vantage point here is very, very clear that this box is several millimeters taller or thicker, however you want to say it, whatever your orientation is, compared to the 89. Let's see. One thing I did note in my written remarks is the bevel, or lack thereof, on the Ultimate Works, right here along this edge and along this edge on the opposite side. Excuse me. It is supposed to have a bevel, sort of an angle. You can see there against my thumb that it is a bit angled. Just a very, very slight incline on either side of the circuit board. And you can see that this one does not have it. It is a solid 90-degree angle on both sides of the control box. So that is a slight inaccuracy on the Ultimate Works side. Let's see. In terms of, yeah, everything about the control box is very, very pleasing to me when it comes to the 89 sabers. I think they did a very, very good job. Let's look at the circuit card. And there isn't a whole lot of difference in terms of the circuit card itself. Both of them feel pretty good. I will say that the Ultimate Works was a lot more like assembly friendly than the 89 sabers was. Like there was no adhesive or anything on the back of the circuit board for the 89 sabers, whereas the I haven't even installed it here. Like, this is just press fit in. There is, you know, 2 little pieces of tape. I haven't even taken the sticky part off, so like this is not even taped in. This is just press fit in. And also, you'll notice that it comes with 2 different circuit boards. One where the tape is on this side, and the other where the tape is on this side. And I believe that this pattern here is what was seen on a prop displayed at one of the previous celebrations. I think it was Celebration 3. It may have been a different celebration, but this apparently is more accurate to what was actually used on the prop. So Ultimate Works very nicely provided both versions, so you can have the Master Replicas version, or you can have the screen used version, and those are 2 separate cards. So I have the other card upstairs. So you don't even have to worry about, oh, if I want to use one side or the other, I have to take the tape off and put it on the other side. No, he gives you 2 separate cards, one with tape on the A side, one with tape on the B side, so you can choose. So that's very good customer service, I think, on the Ultimate Works side, where he provides all these different options for you to use. And we'll talk about options more when we get into the internal assembly and the electronic setup for each of these. Moving up along, I'm looking at the thickness of the hilts. Both of them seem, or all 3 of them seem very, very similar in terms of thickness. Let's, I wonder if, let me put this up here, and we can move the camera up a little bit, and then move these guys closer so we can see the detail up top. Before we keep going on, I want to mention the finish on the control box band. I think that the Ultimate Works is a little bit closer and a little bit more accurate finish-wise on the clamp. It may just be the lighting here, but I want to say that the clamp on the 89 looks a bit better than the clamp on, the clamp on the Ultimate Works here looks a bit better than the clamp on the 89. All right, let's talk about the retention screw up here that sticks out. You can see that it is flush. Let me move it even closer. Okay, there you can see that it's jutting out on the Ultimate Works, and you can see that it's jutting out. So there, you can see it right above the gold button. It is very flat and almost entirely flush on the Master Replicas one, and then it does stick out quite a bit on both the Ultimate Works and the 89. However, the Ultimate Works, the body is beveled, so that right now, because there's a blade plug inside the Ultimate Works, there is not a blade plug inside the 89. So this is as far as the 89 will ever go. However, the Ultimate Works, if you take out the blade plug, or if you sand down the screw, it can go all the way in and it can sit flush just like the Master Replicas in the middle. So that is a win for Ultimate Works. And it's a pretty big loss for 89 because I want it to be as screen accurate as possible. I don't want that screw sticking out. I want it to be as flush as it possibly can be. But since there is no bevel machined into the body, and the body is chrome plated, if I were to go on, with my drill press and try and create that bevel, there's a very, very high probability that it would chip and damage the chrome plating around that area, that section of the emitter. And that's just not something I'm able to do. I mean, yes, you could re-chrome plate the top half, but that's $50 to $100. Like, why should I have to do that? So that's a huge misstep, I think, on the 89 version. And one could think about, sourcing a different kind of screw or doing something to machine down the existing shape of the bevel of the screw to make it more flat so it could sit flush. But again, that's additional machining work, and not everyone has the tools to machine something like that, which is unfortunate. One of the things I've been upset about with every other replica of this Anakin hilt is the brass pins that go here. No replica has gotten the brass pins right to my eye, according to what I see on the Master Replica's hilt. The 89 is the first one to get it right. The shape, the profile, everything about the 89 pins looks correct to my eye. This is a little forward. There we go. Now they're about more equal. The pins on here, especially the top half of the pins, are much flatter and rounder on the Ultimate Works. Speaking of Ultimate Works, let's now take a look at the orange button, or the copper button, the gold button, whatever you want to call it. Let me line these up so that they are about even. Okay, there you can see that they are about flat, so I'm not changing any perspectives here to achieve one result or the other. This is level, this is level, this is slightly lower, the orange button. You can see that. That's not just my eye, is it? I mean, comment below if you think I'm crazy, but it seems to my eye that the 89 and the Master Replicas are on the same level, and then the Ultimate Works is a little bit lower. That's what I am seeing. And I'm seeing a similar thing on the back buttons as well. Okay, I just twisted those around. So it seems to me that these two are level, and then this one is a little bit lower. Let's see if we flip it around that way. Yeah, I can definitely tell that it is like that. So I don't think it's just my eye. So that was an aesthetic choice made with one prop over the other. All right, let's talk about the actual finish of the orange buttons themselves. This one on the Ultimate Works is much brighter orange. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera compared to the much duller and almost there's like a sparkle, like a glittery feel to it, that it has a bit of a sparkle where you can see like individual little sparkles on both the 89 and the Master Replicas. And that finish is missing on the Ultimate Works. Plus just the slightly different color and shade. You can tell that it is a bit more orange, a bit richer in color. So yeah, that's that. In terms of the bezel that it sits in, let's take a look. Both of them have a few issues. The bezel sits out a little too far on this guy here by about 1 millimeter. This bezel sits in about the right amount compared to the Master Replica. So Ultimate Works bezel is a little bit better, but again, it is lower. So I think that kind of cancels itself out. You do one thing right and the other thing slightly wrong. Now, one thing that I've always loved about the Episode 3 Master Replicas limited edition prop is the super thin neck that you see, the black section in between this screw here and then the top emitter ring. And let me just take these aside for one moment and really showcase that. You can see right there especially how thin that black emitter piece is. It almost makes this skinny flex like a thin neck right below the emitter, because this under here is chrome, this under here is chrome. So this is a thin section right here. It's much, much, much thinner than the rest of the emitter. And you will notice that on both the 89 and Ultimate Works, you do have a slightly thinner black section. It is thinner than the chrome ring, but both of these are designed to accept blades. I believe 7/8 inch on both of them. Yeah, that looks like 7/8 inch to me. Yeah, that's 7/8 inch. Anyway, but both of them are designed to accept blades, and so there's a limit to how thin their black sections underneath the chrome ring could be. So neither of them accurately replicate the thin black emitter section of the Master Replica's hilt, which is a bit disappointing because y'all know how much I love thin necks. So this is like the best of both worlds. It's thin neck in a Graflex, technically a Graflex. So it would have been nice if one of these replicas had been able to manage that. Maybe instead of having just the chrome ring unscrew off, you could have a two-piece thing where there's the black neck that screws into the black blade holder, for example, and then the black and the chrome ring come off. And you know, like 89 Sabers had done this really nicely with their Sidious hilt, where they had two different brass emitters. One of them that was super, super thin for display to make it accurate to the static prop, and then another one that was wide for either 7/8 inch or 1 inch blade even. So it's a little disappointing to see that 89 was able to accomplish that on such a small hilt like the Sidious, but they didn't do the same thing or a similar thing on the Skinny Flex. So that's a wee bit disappointing. Let's look at the bezels on the back side, because I'm just noticing some pretty significant differences here, and I don't know how well they're going to show up on camera. But looking at you can see here that there is quite a sharp contrast where my thumb is, where it goes straight and then it goes up at an angle, and that there is definitely a lip of like a millimeter or two on the master replicas. It's less pronounced on the 89, but it is there, that little lip in between the knurled section and the flat angled section. But that lip is missing on the Ultimate Works, so it goes straight from the horizontal ridge section here into the angular smooth surface, and there is no real discernible lip. So that's a wee bit of an issue. Also, in terms of how the copper button sits in the bezel. Again, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. Let's go like that. You can see that just the shape of the button is a little bit more accurate on the 89 version. This one sits in a bit deeper. It's not as wide. The diameter of the button itself is not as pronounced on the Ultimate Works version. But one thing the Ultimate Works does have is a blade plug. The 89 Sabers does not come with a blade plug at all. So that's unfortunate. Let's actually compare the blade. Let's look at the two blade plugs and see how similar they are. Relatively similar. Oh, the glare is awful because they're chrome plated. I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but it's relatively accurate, and it's better than nothing that you get with the 89 version. Let's talk pommel just briefly. It'll be a wee difficult to see since there is sticker on here. There's still the Made in China sticker, and then there's the authentication that I got from Topps when I got it signed by Hayden at Celebration. So that's the static pommel. The Ultimate Works only comes with a vented pommel, so it has the same design as the static prop, but it just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is it, 8? Looks like 8 sound holes in there. Whereas the 89 comes with a removable, interchangeable pommel. So this is the static pommel, and then it comes with another one that has sound venting in it. So that's a prop, or that's a positive, that's a win for 89, that they have the two interchangeable pommels. I'm always a fan of interchangeable pommels, especially if you're, just for any reason, it's always good. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Yeah, let's talk about the inside of the emitter ring. Let's look at first the Master Replicas one, where you can see up here there is a bit of an inner. Let's see how well you can see it. There's like 1 or 2 lines, so it's like a stepped feature here inside the actual lip of the emitter. Compare that to Ultimate Works, which is just one single beveled inclined plane with no additional step rings. The 89 version does have those step rings, so the 89 again is a little bit more accurate to the Master Replicas prop that we have here in the middle. Okay, so all of that said about aesthetics and how it looks, let's talk a little bit about what actually comes with the hilt itself. So this is the one from 89 and Corbanth. It comes with I'm gonna move the Master Replicas thing out of the way just so I don't mess that up. All right, so we've got 89, we've got Ultimate Works. So 89 comes with 2 size Allen wrenches, and then it comes with your interchangeable. This is the vented pommel that you see there. And this is just some bubble wrap that I added to keep it safe. It also comes with, I've already installed, or I've just put in there, one small brass tactile switch. You can hear there. And there is a PCB board that runs just to about here. So it's about yay long, maybe about yay long. And it goes in there, and that's, you can wire it and then run that down. but it only comes with one PCB board, which is a mystery to me. This is this gold lever button here slides up and down. It is not fixed, and my understanding is that there is a switch solution being designed and sent by 89 Sabers to everyone who wants to get this installed, so that they can utilize this as some kind of auxiliary switch, similar to the sliding, the side tab on the Graflex, where you'd pull it down and it was a spring-loaded momentary switch. So I imagine it's something similar to that. But there is also a channel underneath this front gold button, or this front copper button, and this copper button is just glued in. There's no, like, it's not threaded, there's no spring, there's nothing for this front gold button to act as any kind of switch, even though there's a channel for wires and PCB boards. Like, I first put the PCB board in here because I thought, oh, there must be two PCB boards. There must be two PCBs so that I can have one for the front, one for the back. Turns out there's only one. And I opted to put it in the back because the back, you know, has a spring-loaded copper button. The front has to be glued in. So that's weird. I'm not sure whether the front is supposed to act as any kind of switch or whether it's not. And if it's not, why is there a channel drilled in there that's the same shape to accommodate a PCB that could have a switch? So that's a little weird. So with this serving as possibly a single spring-loaded switch, you could have a total of 3 switch solutions, but really only just 2. The back button and then this sliding switch. That's really your only switch solution on here, to the best of my ability to see. Compare that with the Ultimate Works version, which has 4 different switch solutions. You have on the back here, this one, you can have some kind of spring-loaded thing here as well. Let me see if I can actually unscrew this guy. There is a channel in here for an activation switch as well, if you opt to have a switch up there. And then you can have switches, tactile switches underneath the circuit card. And let's just take a look at the box that the Ultimate Works comes in, because it includes a lot of stuff. Okay, a bunch of extra screws. Those look like switches. Yep. So it comes with screws. It comes with 2 switches, Allen wrench. This is the extra circuit card I mentioned. So there's no tape on the B side, but there is tape on the A side. And then it comes with a bunch of PCB strips with the tactile switches already loaded on. Let's see. So this one is for the... oh, I guess this one also does have a slide. So you can loosen the screw here. There's a screw holding this in place. So if you loosen that, then it'll slide up and down, and some kind of mechanism there. But it does also come with PCBs for both of these buttons. So my feeling is that, and the sense I get is that, oh, it comes with a screwdriver. It comes with a screwdriver as well. So, like, how cool is that? So my sense is that, the feeling I get is that the Ultimate Works is a bit more of a finished product in terms of installability, ease of assembly, compared with the 89 version. So we're not even going to talk about Master Replicas right now because that's a solid prop. So let's just talk about the 89 and the Ultimate Works. So I feel like the 89 is a wee bit of an incomplete product because of, it shipped with only one switch solution included, whereas the Ultimate Works shipped with at least 3 to 4 switch solutions included. One thing that I don't like about the Ultimate Works assembly-wise is that you cannot unscrew the bottom part when the control box is assembled. It's a similar thing with the 89, but you can very easily loosen one screw inside the control box. The rest of the control box stays pretty much solid, and then you can unscrew the pommel, or unscrew the bottom half. So I feel like the 89 on the bottom half is a little bit easier to disassemble. And maybe I'm just doing it wrong, and I could be mistaken about the Ultimate Works version. And if so, I apologize for that. Let's see if there's anything else I want to mention regarding these two. I don't know. Both of them are a mixed bag. Both of them have pros and cons, either in terms of install friendliness, noob friendliness. Like if this is your first lightsaber and you don't have a lot of, dremeling tools or drilling tools or whatnot. I know at least the 89, I believe, requires drilling and tapping for LED retention or neopixel retention. I cannot remember if the Ultimate Works inner blade holder came pre-drilled for blade retention or for LED retention. I cannot remember that, unfortunately. I feel like they're both mixed bags, but for me, screen accuracy, or at least accuracy to officially licensed prop, is more important to me, because I have the tools to work around whatever installability faults and failings the 89 has. So for me, the 89 has a slight edge over the Ultimate Works. However, I am waiting to see what the 7 chambers version looks like, because they have claimed that they are making theirs as accurate as possible, again, to the prop, rather than to the Master Replica's officially licensed prop. And so they're trying to make it as accurate as possible while also making it as install-friendly as possible. And I've been impressed with, the quality of all 3 designers in the past, both 89, Ultimate Works, Pack Store, as well as 7 Chambers. So we'll see how the 7 Chambers one stacks up. I will do another review once that one is in hand, and then hopefully people can make an informed decision on what features they find most important for them. Because like some of the aesthetic changes or differences between the two that I pointed out, people will look at them and be like, they look the same to me. Like, I don't care about that level of detail, and that's fine. Price may also be a factor, so I will put links down below for where you can buy each of these, both of these two. You're gonna have to go eBay search for a Master Replica's limited edition hilt. Good luck finding one of those. And anyways, but I'll put links down below in the description for where you can buy both of these, so you can compare the pricing and compare other things. Right now, Ultimate Works offers, I think, empty and installed. They may be out of the empty and just have some installed ones left. Corbantha 89 Sabers offers both empty and will eventually offer installed as well, with a variety of install options. I believe Ultimate Works uses their own soundboards, and Corbantha is using Plector. I could be mistaken about that, but again, check out the links below if you're interested in buying one or both or either of these hilts. I'll also link below to the Low Ground V2 Gen 2, and then I will also link to 7 Chambers, so that you can be notified when their hilt is ready to ship. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say on the matter. We'll bring in the, oh, look at this, it's a little baby. It's like, don't talk to me or my kids ever again. This is cute. Alright, anyway. Thank you all so much for watching. Before I sign off, I want to mention that I will be doing a review on the new Corbantha 89 of Episode 3 Obi-Wan Saber, and I will be comparing it with Roman Props Inception Elite, and comparing it with the Master Replica's limited edition version. So I'll be doing a review on all 3. I don't have the Ultimate Works version of the Episode 3 Obi-Wan Kenobi hilt. I may pick one up just for purposes of review and then install it and sell it off. We'll see. But I do have the... we're just waiting on one extra part from 89 Sabers to be shipped out, because apparently the Obi-Wan Kenobi hilt shipped with a piece from the control box missing, and so it's impossible to assemble. So, take that as you will. At least Ultimate Works, when you get a complete set when you receive something from them. And anyway, that's a whole separate review, and we'll get to that at some future date, hopefully soon. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.